Now then, if you were invited to take a guided tour of a housing estate, you'd probably think of a dozen things you'd like to do first. But in the case of the Wavertree garden suburb in Liverpool, it's a journey that many think is well worth making. The estate is 75 years old this year and was planned as a bold new concept in suburban housing. It offered the original residents not just bright new homes, but also catered for their leisure and recreational needs as well.
The first house was built in 1910. The first family moved in a few days before Christmas. Their rent was 8 shillings a week plus 1 and 6pence for rates, a total of less than 50 pence. The man behind it all was called Henry Vivian, a London builder who later became MP for Birkenhead. He devised a scheme of co-ownership and applied it in a number of places like Hampstead Garden Suburb and Burnage Garden Village in Manchester. And the first houses were designed by Raymond Unwin, a pioneer among town planners of the time who specialised in varied styles, houses with gardens and communal open spaces. And Wavertree was a success despite unforeseen difficulties.
Well, the problem they had was the First World War, because the war came along just 4 years after the first house was occupied, and that brought all building work to a halt. And after the First World War, there was no money available to continue expanding the estate because building costs had gone up and rents were frozen. But before the war, it was certainly a success in that it had attracted people from many different parts of Merseyside to come and live here. They'd established societies, clubs of one sort or another, and they generally regarded themselves as pioneers and very much enjoyed living here.
Did estates that came later, local authority or whatever, did they learn anything from places like this?
Well, in terms of design, they certainly did, because before the First World War, Liverpool had been building almost exclusively tenements, blocks of flats. After the First World War, it was largely semi-detached houses, short terraces, the same sort of idea as these, although I think it's fair to say Liverpool council housing was rather less varied in terms of the design of the individual houses. This estate was really never repeated after the First World War.
50 years ago, the people of Wavertree Garden Suburb ran a choral society, debating circles, a wide range of recreational and sports activities. The original institute is still in use. Plans to build a larger one never materialised. Unlike the rest of the estate, the old stone cottage was built of local materials. Building materials for the suburb's houses all came from Hertfordshire, where Henry Vivian created a similar community at Letchworth. Nearly all the Wavertree houses are now in private ownership. Many of the residents are newcomers, but Palmer Hayes was born in the house where she lives today.
We had a wonderful time. The institute was the focus of everything. We went to school there, we made our friends there, we did everything there. It was really the focus of all attention.
And there were lots of sort of clubs and societies, lots of activities, weren't there?
Yes, we had a dramatic society, we had pantomimes. Mother was involved in everything. Mother acted, produced, played, did the pantomime. She did everything that was going. And the Rose Queen in the summer, that was a big do. We had bonfire night, went to polo field, always had a huge bonfire, and everybody was given a bag of sweets and a potato to roast in the bonfire. We really had a wonderful time.
Though now surrounded on all sides, Wavertree Garden Suburb is still recognisable as a place apart. And though it's much smaller than was originally planned, it still enjoys considerable popularity.
It's a popular place among those who live here and those who know about it, but not all that many people in Liverpool even know of its existence. It's very much off the beaten track. It's not the sort of place you pass through on the way to anywhere.
The haven of Wavertree, 75 years old.